Coach Greg, you never put on any muscle. You must have been on stuff the whole time. No, clearly never put on any muscle. No, I can't tell. I don't notice it. I can't see any growth anywhere. Coach Greg, and I'm here to do a response video to Plates for Dates, Derek's video on me. It's called Discovering a Retroactive Fake Natty. Greg Doucette exposed. I can't wait to see me get exposed. It's amazing. We're going to find out about my natty or not status way back in the day. See, why was I a fake natty? Was I a fake natty? When was I a fake natty? And so on.
What's up, guys? Derek, morePlatesForDates.com. Today we're going to be doing a natty or not on Greg Doucette.
For those of you who don't know, I actually called out Derek to make this video because I wanted to see his opinion, see what he thought about me, and get this. It has 250,000 views in 13 hours right now. Do you know how much of a compliment this is to me? This is the biggest ego stroke I've ever seen. There's 250,000 people that care to know if I was a fake natty back when I posted pictures back when I was younger. And how funny is this? Derek is literally having a hard time to not laugh because we're talking about how HRT, we all know it time travels for me to see what videos I should do. It comes back in time. It makes my breakfast, makes my bed.
I'm like watching the video, enjoying the discussion of, fucking transcending space and time and whatnot with HRT, because everyone knows that's what it does, right? So
those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know HRT does that. I've been on HRT now 14 months straight before I did my last cycle when I last competed and placed 4th in a pro show. And I've been HRT ever since, 140 milligrams a week. Only none of you believe it. You're positive it's been trend since I was 10. So I literally, before watching the video, wrote, looking forward to watching this one. Thanks for the video in advance. Hope it gets a lot of views. So in the comment section, this is how stupid people are. This is how much people are morons. Somebody writes this, hope it gets a lot of views, end quote. Bitter much? How does it feel, rat? It's like, I literally wish him a lot of views, 250,000 in 13 hours. That's amazing. And I'm glad because think of it. The more views he gets, the more people are watching a video about me. That helps me. And the more views he gets, it helps him. And maybe some people subscribing to him come to me and vice versa. You see how that works?
So yeah, on the left, it's, grainier shot in terms of like image quality, black and white. It's almost like deeper contrasting in the abs and the slicey serratus he's got going. And he's flexing, so, you could almost argue it's the same day. Like, that's how similar these look, but there's apparently over 20 pounds of difference between them. So, yeah,
So on the left, I'm 149 pounds. I'm 5'6¼ That's not very big, yet I'm flexing, and even me, as myself looking at the photo, I'm like, it's hard to believe I'm 149, but I was 149 pounds. I literally won the drug-tested Canadian Nationals and the non-tested Nationals 1 week apart in this time period, okay, in 2000. I won back-to-back shows as a lightweight. Okay. I was tiny and I was severely dehydrated. I remember I walked to the grocery store to get some rice cakes to carb up and I had to stop on a park bench. I couldn't make it. It was only like half a mile. I literally could barely walk to the store. I could barely walk up steps. I wanted to do a backflip on stage. There was no backflip that was going to happen. I was like, if I try to jump in the air, I'm going to pull a hamstring. I was in a mess, but you can see how I actually looked. I was shredded, okay? The leaner you are, the bigger you look. I was leaner there than I was on the right after having won the overall Atlantic title. It was a week after the Nova Scotia Provincials, and I won the overall as a middleweight, as a small middleweight against everyone, the heavyweights, everybody. And I wasn't even as lean as I was as 149 pounds. But I had packed on probably close to 20 pounds of muscle here and looked significantly better.
So in this photo, yeah, I'm not surprised. Like that just standing in a certain way, holding your trophy up and not flexing. If he was standing right beside, the older version of him, if he was able to time travel because he was on HRT, if he was on HRT and he could time travel and he stood next to the other one, it would, look like a massive difference because you'd actually have the proportions right next to each other to compare. But when you're actually just looking at a photo zoomed in, like, you have no idea.
So it just goes to show, when you're trying to judge someone if they're natural or not, and you just see a photo, you can't really tell, because in that 149-pound photo, to me, I don't look natural in that photo. I wouldn't even be able to win a men's physique competition today at the amateur level in men's physique. I didn't have hardly any muscle. 149 pounds, is that big? No.
Okay, here's another one. Shocking natural transformation, over 50 pounds difference between photos. Who says you can't grow into your 30s? Okay, so obviously just trolling hard here.
And you know what's funny? I'm trolling hard, and Derek obviously sees that. Philion actually made a video with that as well. Some people literally think I'm not kidding. But if you look in this photo, the one on the left, I'm actually natural, 100% natural. And on the right, I'm 100% not natural. I'm about 55 pounds bigger on the right. And in the photo on the right, I'm not actually that fat. Like some people say, oh, you look fat there. It's just I'm holding a lot of water from steroids. You can clearly visually see the difference in my face when I'm enhanced and eating versus right now when I'm just on a low dose of HRT. You can see it. And this is not that long ago. A lot of people think, oh, Coach Greg, you aren't that big. You don't have any muscle. Yeah, I've lost a lot of muscle. I've been bike riding for nearly 4 years now, and I've lowered my testosterone dose. I'm no longer doing massive cycles. The last cycle I did, which was extremely small, was for my last show over a year ago. That's the last one. Small, tiny cycle. Not like back in the day when I would abuse, try to take everything. Okay? Smaller cycles because worried about my health. Now it's just HRT, HRT only.
This is natural, like, genetic phenom at its, at its finest right here. Fucking specimen and a half. So now, does it look the same?
This photo is literally the day after I win with the trophy over my head. I'm literally at the same weight in a respectable body fat level. Not what I'd call contest shape now, but back then I thought I was pretty lean. And 171 pounds.
Okay, this is a big rant. Let's see. Yes, I'm fake, as I pretend to be what you see here. It's true because my voice is at a higher pitch now than before. Cat surprise face.
I'm listening to him read over the descriptions. It's like, yeah, I do a lot of rants. But what's funny to me is when he's like, cat surprise face, or he actually reads out the emoticon. Is that what it's called? And he says what it is. I didn't know they actually had names, like cat surprise face. Like, I just thought it was, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm this old. I didn't know emoticons had actual names.
And he has great inserts. Like, again, if you are 170 pounds shredded, but you have exceptional round muscle bellies, you're going to look better in a photo than a guy who's 220 shredded with shit muscle bellies.
It's interesting to see just how critical I am when I see physiques, and even when I see my own physique, because Derek's saying just how exceptional the inserts are on my body and whatnot, and basically being very complimentary. And I literally look at this photo and say, how could I have gotten on stage that soft to compete with? Like, to me, it's like, what happened to the diet? Like, I know I wasn't using diuretics at the time, and I was holding a bit of water, but still, it's like, come on, Greg, like, what kind of diet you're on? Like, literally, I'm seeing this, and it's 6 weeks out of where I'd want to be. Like, I'm almost as lean as this right now. I mean, especially in the legs, it's like, where are the cuts? But back then, I thought this was shredded. This is like 15 years ago, and yes, I'm natural, but I still think I could have came in a lot leaner than this. When you go into a show, and back then when I would compete, I was like pretty confident that I was going to win because you pretty much knew everyone that was competing. And I was like, well, I look pretty good. And unless someone else posted a picture or someone said, hey, I'm this shredded, there was no reason to really diet harder than last time. But now when I compete, I know everyone's going to be mind-blowing shredded. So you got to compete under 5%, or for me, there's just no point, okay? So funny that I can look back at this and all I see are flaws. And when Derek's looking at this, he's like, this guy is a specimen and a half. And it's like, to me, I'm like, no, I'm not in shape.
Let's see. Here's a more, so outside sitting on train tracks or something, trying to not get a splinter in the ass here.
It's funny, I remember doing this photo shoot with editor Steve, and there was a lot of splinters, in fact, and I was concerned with getting splinters in the ass sitting on those train tracks.
Was my sex drive, energy levels, and sleep good when I looked like this in my early 20s? No, I felt like garbage and could not maintain this level of conditioning year-round. But guess what? That's part of the challenge of the sport of bodybuilding. If you don't like it, don't compete.
So I hope you're getting the message that when I post a picture on Instagram, I use it as a talking point. I get to share a message, share something. And in this message, I was trying to tell people, yeah, I look good, but I feel like garbage because I'm dieting too hard. It feels like shit to be that lean. So don't strive for perfection. If you try too hard, you're going to suffer. It's not worth it. There's a lot of negative things that are associated with being that lean. And that's natural being that lean. Just think, if you want to abuse PDs to get the shredded body that you want, think of all the negative things that can happen. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's my message. If you take it too far, it's not only going to endanger your health, it's also going to make you feel like garbage.
Guess me and editor Steve's weights and ages. Hint, he's 5 years younger and we both won the drug-tested naturals. In different divisions. To all the haters, yes, we know we have shitty genetics and are short and clearly not natty.
So I posted that photo with myself and editor Steve, and a lot of people thought we were actually the same age, that we were twins. I'm actually 5 years older and over 20 pounds bigger. But in the photo, some people thought we were the same weight. Just goes to show how you can't tell in a photo what's really happening. And this photo is taken at the same time as that photo where I'm 149 pounds, where I look crazy huge and shredded. It's the same as this side tricep pose. So can you see any different photo in a different angle can make you look better or worse than you really are?
Let's see what else we got here. Getting out-angled by editor Steve, age 18 and Steve 13. Started my diet at 165 pounds and saw a six-pack of abs for the first time.
And editor Steve out-angling me, standing in front. He's literally 13 years old, looking almost as big as I am.
If I recall correctly, Greg also mentioned how he was doing a lot of duathlons or whatever they were called that what's-his-face was doing, Paul Sklar, and that was holding him back from gaining muscle. So presumably that is why at age 24-ish, he was only 148 despite having trained for another 6+ years.
I was one of the most active kids you would ever met. I was typically exercising for between 3 and 5 hours a day, counting lifting weights. So imagine how hard that is to recover. I did that for 13 years, being a competitive triathlete and bodybuilder at the same time.
Circa Natty Files, weight less than you, I assume.
And that's a play on, isn't it called a play on words? I wrote, weight less than you think. That's the think man. I thought he knew the emoticon names, the thinky face. Weight less than you think, and then the cloud is like you're thinking about stuff. So that was the point of that. The weight is less than you think. Does that make sense? Because you probably thought I was like 175 pounds. I'm like 156. So anyway.
Totally reasonable in my opinion. Here is the one that everyone has, one of the most heavily speculated ones, I guess.
And so when I got that photo back, I was like, wow, I look really good in that photo. And it's the same exact photo shoot as the tricep press down. And you get about 100 photos and you look at them and you're like, oh, these 5, I look amazing. So guess which ones I post?
Like obviously, if he took him now and stood him beside him in this photo, him now would dwarf him in that photo. You just might think, oh, the guy, the natural version looks more quality because it's, you know, younger, fresher, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. I'm 193 pounds, 171 there. I'm way bigger than that guy, but I don't have the sexy young looks anymore. I'm getting older than last time, so I don't look as good. Yeah, I get it. I'm getting old. I look better natural. Sure. Okay, that's fine. I'm also going to look better now, right now, than I will in 10 years from now, even if I take PDs, because that's just how it works. You get old.
Posing natural, 179 pounds, April 2009.
This is actually the last video where I was actually posing natural, okay? So in this video, this is my natural best, and I'm 179 pounds. I'm not actually dehydrated, depleted the way that I do, like when I was 149 pounds, depleted and just in a mess to be completely shredded. This is my walk around weight, 179. If you've been training your whole life and you're 30, you're at your peak, and you're not gonna be as big at 45 as you were at 30 if you're natural. Unless you're Jeff Cavalier or Micah Hearn. Other than that, those are the 2 exceptions, okay? So had I never touched a PD in my life, Because some people are like, why did you ever take anything? You look better natural. If I'd never taken anything in my life, I sure as heck would have a lot less muscle now than I did back then. I'd probably be 170 pounds or something in that same condition. So HRT, it's allowed me to keep a lot of the muscle that I gained while I was on those heavy and massive cycles, of which I've talked about on YouTube. You can read, you can follow it on YouTube. They're posted. I talked about it.
For a guy with elite genetics. Now, I could understand why people would say that's, no, he's unnatural if they don't look at the history. But for me, I look at the competition history and I see him as a middleweight. Then I see him within 3 years jump up to heavyweight and win the overall. If you were enhanced from 1996 up to 2009, or I don't know, even halfway through here, and you're jumping up, let's just say from lightweight to middleweight, do you really think that you are suddenly going to go from this to jumping up to this in a few years if you've already been saucing?
And Derek's explaining the law of diminished returns, which people just don't get. They think that I could have been on gear this whole time and then just up the dose. It doesn't work like that. You can't just take a gram of gear and then say, well, now I want to get really big. I'm going to take 2 grams or 10. There's no difference after a while. It's like a little bit more helps a lot, and then all of a sudden it plateaus, and there's only minor differences. You can go from doing a big cycle to the most massive cycle you've ever heard of in your life, and it only makes 3 pounds difference. You can't just put on 20 or 30 pounds after you've already been taking steroids for several years. It doesn't work like that. The newbie gains, that's a thing. Newbie gains is a thing.
You don't see guys who just all of a sudden jump like that because they decide to enhance on top of their enhanced, So for me, when I see this jump, like to me, this seems more representative of something that makes sense. Like for him to have gone from a light middleweight and a middleweight to jumping into the heavyweight category and winning the overall against other heavyweights. Like here he is. This is his buddy, Johnny Shreve here in third.
Oh, Coach Greg, you never put on any muscle. You must have been on stuff the whole time. No, clearly never put on any muscle. No, I can't tell. I don't notice it. I can't see any growth anywhere. It makes me laugh because clearly I'm way bigger, like 20 plus pounds of muscle bigger, but yet you don't notice it. I mean, I'm looking at this photo and I think I look bigger than Johnny Shreve, who's an IFBB pro. And yeah, I didn't put on any muscle. Johnny's 212 pounds in this photo.
Going from a plateaued state of gaining a couple pounds a year to all of a sudden just flying through the sky. Like you cannot explain that if he was, on gear all the time prior. So
ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro. Moving up 2 videos. Watch 1. TikTok, Instagram. Buy my freaking cookbook, training book, all that stuff. And until next time, I'm out. Who's at my ultimate prime? Isn't that a freaking transformer? Ultimate Prime? Optimus Prime. Anyway.